If this video found you, you came into this life to be a leader. You came to share your voice. You came to be heard. And that's enough. If this video found you, you more than likely had some teenage, childhood, past trauma around sharing your voice and being heard. I am going to presume that at one point in your life you were quite outspoken and you would speak your opinion. And for a while maybe you were confident with this and like people were backing you and you felt really good and positive and maybe a little bit ego driven because people were backing you up in your opinion. And then something happened and then you no longer felt safe to share your voice again. You then began to hide your opinions and keep them to yourself. And when you go to different situations and you see other leaders leading, you're like, oh, I can see how they could do it better, or I have a feeling that I'd be able to do this better than them. And it's not a sense of that's coming from ego, but that's coming from heart-centered resonance of knowing who you are and what your gifts are. Now, another sign that you may be a leader, maybe if your ancestors are leaders, so your parents might be natural leaders in their profession or in their friendship groups, or your grandparents or the people that have raised you are very like naturally leadership quality embodying. So people go to them for advice, people go to them to look up to and to ask what to do. You know, people are naturally drawn to these people, to leaders, for inspiration, for guidance. And sometimes this can even just be people watching your social media posts. Like they might not engage, they might not comment, but they're always watching. You know, you might have them same people that just watch your stuff. And building up the confidence and the safety within yourself to share your voice again can be challenging after you've had traumatic experiences that have made you want to close your voice down. And when I say traumatic, it doesn't have to be big and like this big thing. Like trauma can be, you said your opinion to your parents and you just told whatevs, you know, or it can be you said it to a partner or to somebody who you really cared about. That's a sign that this is resonating with you. This is the phone ringing. I hope it stops so I don't have to go and turn it off. Right, I'm going to turn it off. Yeah, so trauma can happen from any small or big incident that happened or situation. And it can even be unvocalized, so just be met with judgment in you sharing your opinion by somebody that you value or even that you don't, you know. It can be so many different things, it's so nuanced. Yeah, so like the journey of reclaiming your voice is a powerful one. Learning to share your truth and your opinion. And you know, there might have been times where you've shared your opinion and you've been wrong, and that's okay. We as a species can be too hard on ourselves to get things right, to always be perfect, to always say the right thing. We're so, as a collective, like the way I see it is like anybody who's part of any community that I'm in, they're all welcome. They've all got a seat at this metaphorical table. Like if you're choosing to be here, in my personal opinion, you belong. By default, by you being there, you belong. So I'm in a position of unconditionally accepting everybody with their flaws, with their imperfections, with their wounding, with their judgments, whilst also allowing them to take self-responsibility of their journey. But not being part of this cancel culture of like, oh, you can only hang around with us if you meet this certain criteria of, you know, if you wear these certain things, if you know, have this amount of money, if you have these views. I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to that everybody is welcome in their uniqueness, in their individuality, because that's their magic, that's their gift of who they are, being who they are. So all of them is welcome. And we're all on these personal growth journeys, all the types of people that I attract into the communities that I'm in anyway. So like unconditional acceptance of allowing these people to be who they are. And for me, that's a sign of leadership qualities, of not always going with the grain, maybe going against the grain, not always being a sheep to things, and leaders can still embody sheep qualities now and then, because leaders still want to belong, they still want to be a part of something. And if you are still learning things and you haven't found the answer yet within yourself of what your personal opinion is on this certain topic, you might be a sheep, you might copy what people around you are doing, because until you've formed your own stance on this, that's the best perspective that you can see for now. So don't be too hard on yourself, and know it can take time to fully embody your leadership qualities in a really empowered, express way. But then recognizing if you're naturally a leader, it's obviously you're a leader. It's so obvious, so embracing that and recognizing what your gifts and your talents are that just come natural to you, that you may not see as gifts and talents, but other people would. And these are what inherit. Maybe I'm just hearing that word wrong. We inherit these from our ancestors many times, and that's why they come so natural to us. I can feel my throat choking out. Yeah. So, like I said about our parents, our grandparents embodying these similar qualities, these are ancestral blessings. These are gifts that have been passed down through the generations that your ancestors have learned. And you get them for free. You just naturally are them, because they're in your cells, they're in your genes, they're in your blood, in your bones. And that's magic. So it's okay if you're a leader and you're not fully in your power yet, or you're still learning, or you're exploring, or you're tiptoeing around, or you're watching others. Wherever you are in your leadership journey is welcome. You might be a little rebel, you might be a little black sheep, you might be a little trailblazer. These are all qualities that embodied leaders are, because how can you be a leader if you're always thinking with the crowd, if you're not thinking different? And people will want to shut them down, because that exposes their shadows and how they relate with themselves and what they think about themselves. But that's why they're not leaders. One of the most potent, powerful things you can do for yourself is to surround yourself with good-minded people who feel emotionally safe, who, they don't even have to be a leader, but if you have leader friends, that's epic. But I'm sure they're leaders in their own way. People lead in so many different ways. People are gorgeous, they're abundant, they're so unique and special, and everybody has their own purpose. I feel like I'm waffling on about leaders. I don't even know. I just wanted to speak about leaders and how epic we are and how awesome we are, and how we're the ones that go through the trauma and the journeys, because we're the ones that are at the front of it. So we kind of do the healing first, and we walk the journey first, so that then we can guide others through that, because we've walked it, because it's embodied wisdom. It's, I've lived this, so I can literally help you because I've lived this. So most leaders have the most trauma, or have experienced such a variety of different things, or even not a variety, just a small specific set of resistance or trauma. Again, I keep using that word, take it how it resonates, because they're here to guide everyone else, to show the way, and that's magic. So yeah, all my leaders out there, shout out to you. I know this journey isn't easy, it's hard, and what nobody told me, there was so many dark nights of the soul. There's so many descents, there's so many risings, and then there's so many descents. What do you mean? I swear, when I first started this journey, I was like, oh, okay, I might do all my healing, then I'll be healed, and then I can do life. I cannot tell you in my about 7 years of doing all this work, how many dark nights of the souls I've had, how many descents I've had into the darkness, into the womb. Yeah, incredible. in the most like crushing ways. Yeah, it's hard, you know, and I love being a leader. I wouldn't change it for the world. Anytime, I swear as well, you'll know if you're a leader, you already know this by now, but like anytime I try to stop being a leader, I just naturally like embody that and like can feel myself like, oh, like if I see leadership not being done how I do it, if I see any flaws in the system, I'm like, oh, every ounce of me is like trying to get involved and give solutions and new ways. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Like myself, I have a knack for like seeing the small details and seeing where things can be improved. I can really feel when something's out of like vibrational harmony, and I love to like, I'm so nerdy about this, like to get into this, like figure out what it is and like give the solution, like, yeah, and that's so cool. So thank you for tuning in, my fellow leaders. Yeah, just a shout out to all my leaders out there. I know it ain't easy, but we're in this together. Yeah, take care of yourself, look after yourself. You know what you need to do anyway. Maybe we just needed a little chit chat here about, you know, checking in. If you needed a reminder, if you're in that phase of forgetting what you are, or yeah, needing a reminder of who you are, this is it. By default as well, that's the thing, it's just by default. Lots of love. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. I'm 3 followers off of 100, so that's going to be exciting to have 100 people on here organically tuning in, subscribing. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again soon. Catch it. Best catch. Do a best catch. Oh yeah, that was epic. I love that. Okay, see you again soon.